Hello. Good news and bad news. Good news is my channel's got to 90k subs now, so it's 10k to go to 100k. That should be easily done less than a year, I imagine, assuming I get the regular amount of views. Bad news is second coronavirus wave definitely coming to the UK now. You know, of how fast the numbers are accelerating up and the more and more restrictions they're putting in. So that's definitely not good news, but I think it was pretty much inevitable, as we all knew. You know, there's a lot of people going, oh no, it'll be fine, it will be gone by Christmas, just like Trump said it'll be gone by Easter, and oh look, it didn't go away, did it? So, yeah, that's obviously... It's all right, SC, I've not really done much today. I'm going to get some videos, films and all that tomorrow, but today, because I was at work at the weekend, I just wanted to relax today. But yeah, thank you. But unfortunately, as said, the bad news is the corona stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if I get to 100k subs a bit faster if the corona stuff's worse. But not that I'd want to get subs based on you know, corona. But it's hard to say UFC because what they're saying at the moment. Cheers, Altrix. Thank you very much. That will go towards the bunker. So thank you. But yeah, the thing at the moment, of course, is with the stuff is they're meant to be putting in restrictions earlier. And I think the idea is the more restrictions they put in earlier, it might prevent a second wave resulting in a second lockdown. But the point is, if you end up having lots and lots of restrictions anyway, you're basically at a second lockdown, aren't you? But yeah, thank you very much, Eltrix. I appreciate that. Who's WP98? I have no idea who that is. Unless you meant to type my channel and then spell it wrong. Yeah, if they ever bother making them, I can put them in the background and I can move it to the bunker. But can you actually lip read all right, Hayden? I won't put a gas mask on then, so you can lip read. Yeah, Joshua, did you see the thing about a single person doing a pub crawl after they knew they were positive for corona resulted in like one area getting a local lockdown? I can actually look, Daryl. Let me see. I think I need to go to something like Social Blade, and then does it let me look at previous dates? So, user summary, is it that one? Detailed statistics, I imagine it's that one. Then can I go backwards a fair bit? Total subscribers. So let's say March, let's say February or January, right, in 2020, before all the corona stuff really started hitting off. At that point, I was at 66,000 subscribers. By middle of February or late February, I was at 75,000 subscribers. By April, I was at 84k subs, and we've just got to 90k subs now, because during the initial lockdown stuff and when I'd done a few corona videos before it really got into the news, that was when it went like that with a lot of stuff, because there wasn't many channels talking about it. Silver play buttons for 100k subs, yeah, AK-47. I think gold's 1 million subs, isn't it? And I think the platinum one's for like 10 million subs or 100 million. I think that's how it is, but I don't know if they always... apparently sometimes they can be really slow at making them for you anyway, even when you get to the threshold. Well, the Victorine 450 Radioactive Maniac, that was about £100. If you were in the US and bought it, it would probably only be like $60, but the postage was expensive on it. So in Canada, I don't know how much you could get it across there for, but you're normally looking at $50 to $100 for the unit itself, then plus, you know, all the postage and taxes and whatever else. I've seen one a bit like that, Train Spotter, but I don't remember anything about medical pills in a pan. I know the one where the guy accidentally makes it worse for himself because he seals himself in the airtight house with all the horrible stuff in there with him. That wasn't a great film. If I'm thinking of the one you're thinking of, I thought it was a bit of a shit film. But I do know that one where there's a guy like taping all the stuff to his windows. Yeah, you can still get the silver one. Best rifle as in proper rifle. Best proper rifle, I would say, would be either like an AK-74 or an M16 platform or a FAL. Right, Mike? Well, there's loads of things, isn't there? There's corona protests. One of the things I was going to say to people is if you need a mask for corona, you need to hurry up and get one now, because I think as soon as we get into the winter, the mask prices are just going to go really stupid again. If you want to donate, thank you V6 Power, there's a couple of ways of doing it. There should be a Patreon link below. You can do it via Patreon, or you can do it via YouTube Super Chat. If you wanted to do it via Super Chat, there's like a $1 button on the side. You just click that and put the amount in you want to. $500 is way too much Radioactive Maniac for a Victorine 450. I mean, if you're buying one new, they might be that price, but in terms of old medical ones, you know, that have been used for like 10 years or whatever. But yeah, my mum the other week was saying to me, oh, she wanted to get a certain mask and should she get it? And I said, look, you know, you might think 30 quid is a lot for the mask you want to get now. But I bet you in, you know, a couple of months' time, they're going to be over £100 again. Oh, sounds good, Peach. It's all working all right, is it? That's not a good price. My name is, was it the 4A1, the civilian one, or was it the M15, the military one? I'll do a review of the mask she wanted to get when it comes, because, as I said to her, she can just use some of my masks, but she, for whatever reason, has decided she wants her own completely different mask now for some reason. I don't know, women. But... yeah, the civilian, that's not as good if you got the civilian one for that. It's still right considering current mask prices, but the M15 is worth more. But... you know, it's like she's already borrowing my MSA 410 from me and a couple of other masks, and she decides she just wants a completely different one. As far as I'm aware, Joshua, if you're not meeting up more than 6 people, in most parts of the UK you can, but certain places have local lockdowns where you couldn't go there to meet somebody, as far as I'm aware. Israeli M15, Ivan, is a mask that Israel uses. The closest thing I have to it, because I don't have the M15 available right now, the closest mask I have to it is the one that Marcus is lending me, which is that Taiwanese mask. They're very similar to this. They've got a drinking tube port on one side and a voice diaphragm thing at the front. They're like all the kind of Draeger M62, M65 variants everybody came up with. The Romanian M85 is very similar as well. But yeah, they're better than the M65 in the sense they've got better straps and better face seals and all that. But yeah, German M65s are alright. I've just never had them much luck getting an airtight seal of my face. Yeah, I doubt that, BV. If you wanted to buy most of mine off of me, yes, please give me the money and I'll get rid of them. But Daryl, you have to ask Marcus how much the ones he bought cost, but the adult green one is much better than the yellow one. And I think sometimes you can get lucky and get those for less than $100 with like a mask included with them and like hoses and everything. Oh yeah, well, there's a reason for that, Marcus. The reason for that is that, if you didn't know about this, there's a mask called the Draeger Simplex, which the Israeli masks are a copy of. And because Draeger did so many different mask designs, I imagine it's basically just their general style of mask was the one that eventually evolved into the 4A1. A bit like how the old West German Z56 mask looks a lot like a 4A1 as well, Simplex sort of thing, because all the parts are sort of in the same places. I don't know I could actually properly review them, Ivan, because, as I said, I don't have any horrible chemicals to be able to go, look, it's got rid of this chemical. M15, if it's an M15 in good condition for $80 with a filter at the moment, and that's not too bad. That's not really too bad, David, considering just how silly masks are going in price. Again, like we said before, there was a pre-COVID price of masks, and now there's COVID and protest prices of masks, which are way more. Yeah, thanks to everybody saying, well done, 90k. That's more interesting when we get to 100k, but. Well, that's the main problem with winter, isn't it? People get flu and colds non-stop, and if there's not good testing capacity, who fucking knows what's going on? Yeah, the thing I never get is when you see like the airsoft style stuff, Joe, that costs more money than actual surplus. So it's like I can get some really cheap, crappy fabrics, you know, or like plastic helmets, or I could just buy the real thing for less. No, I don't have a South Korean K1. Yeah, it could possibly be TXC Gaming, that if it takes long enough to get to 100k subs, that by that point I'll already have the bunker, so it would be a 100k special. Oh, so Yorkshire Tom's given you all a warning. People already bulk buying the loo roll, so make sure you're stocked up. Oh, thanks again, Eltrix. Let me look up that one. Is it the one I think it is? US 1942 Army Snout Mask. I'm trying to think, is that the one I think it is? Oh, no, it isn't. That's the one that's a bit more like the M15, sorry, M65, isn't it? That similar sort of layout. Yeah, the triangular lenses, the sort of XL valve at the front, and the 60mm filter intake on the chin sort of area. Yeah, it's quite a lot like the M65. What's the one, like the civilian one with the little sort of filter just basically taped to it like a can? That was the one I was thinking of when you said that, but yeah. I definitely know which one you mean by the snout mask now. The one that's like the original M65. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, TXC Gaming, because in theory there are ones that come up for sale now, and if I sold everything and took on debt, I could get one, but that's a stupid thing to do, isn't it? What you want to do is actually get one when you've got the money to refurbish it and literally have it all sorted with no worry. Because I'm sure every year you'll get a good number of ROC bunkers come up for auction and resale, because I think a lot of people buy them and then realise that, you know, they're not that practical for what they want them for. Cheers, Nordic Resilience. Whereas for me, I'm kind of like, oh, I could mostly off-grid one and live in a cramped little bunker to get out of the house. So yes, please. Well, technically, Radioactive Maniac, the DP63 back screen is the strongest source I have. But I mean, if you mean deliberate source, then yes, the Chinese SR90 source is the strongest. If you mean just in general for strongest like little thing I've got that gives off a shitload of radiation, that would definitely be the DP63 screen. But I think the strongest strontium-90 source you can get is from a Soviet DP2 counter, because that's when they put like a huge amount of strontium-90 in them to, like, you know, get the ionization chamber on them to read several Röntgen. Yeah, radium is scary. Have you heard, Ivan, or seen any of those bunkers that were supposedly all around Russia? Although I think most of them are like St. Petersburg, Leningrad sort of area, due to like the border with Finland, where they painted these like apparently loads and loads of radium paint inside the like little bunkers, sort of pillbox things, so gunners could see where like the window slits were in the dark, and like, you know, could follow a glowing trail on the floor to navigate the bunkers and sort of pillboxes in the dark. But apparently they're really, really scarily radioactive, especially now because all the paint's chipping off. So, you know, it's very easy to inhale it or get on your clothes. I don't know if you'd get a chance to eat the elephant's foot, but the problem is I wanted to go on holiday to Chernobyl, as said, but, you know, Corona happened and ruined everything. So, if you cancelled your card already, Gash Goblin, you better do that. But yeah, the problem is for the driver's side of things, though, I think, is that the drivers literally, you know, might get punched in the face by some cunt, you know, that gets on the bus if they tell them to put their mask on. That's annoying if the stream's lagging for you. I really don't know what it can be, because I should be getting good enough internet speeds, and there's not much CPU being used up, so sometimes people say they're having issues with the streams. Yeah, I don't know. I'll try and find you a video on it later, Ivan, and PM it you. But it's quite interesting because it was something about like Russia's nuclear legacy. I was watching a documentary on. There was like some guys that go to the bunkers and clean them up, but they couldn't get a big enough grant to do it properly. So with a lot of them, they just kind of have to lock the doors because obviously kids play them, which is really bad. You know, the idea of like 6-year-old kids playing with like loose radium paint is really fucking horrible. You know, just due to the leukemia risks and everything associated with that. Yeah, well, at least prevention from coronavirus is being a hermit, I think. I don't know, Rajiv. I heard there's apparently on a Dr. John Campbell thing, Italy, I think, now is doing some TV show where they are literally showing people's bodies in morgues due to corona because of all the idiots, you know, going about, oh, it's all fake, you know, it's this pandemic thing. Nobody really died from it. It was made up. So they're literally just filming loads and loads of the bodies that come in due to corona to basically try and make these idiots wake up. Because I certainly get the thing that, you know, a lot of people could have died and had corona but not died of corona, and then on the death certificate it said they died of corona. I know there is a lot of stuff like that, and you certainly have to be careful of governments using this to gain authoritarian powers, because, you know, there's a legit thing going around, so let's misuse it for authoritarian reasons. But, you know, corona does exist. Yeah, sadly, there's no cure to, as you said, no cure to stupidity. Or as Mark Twain said, the problem with common sense is it's not so common. Well, I don't think regular people, OJB, will be able to get the vaccine to begin with early enough anyway. Hello, Visa. So I think what will happen is there'll probably be quite a while of it being given to frontline workers and that before us regular plebs get it. And by that point, they should probably know if there's going to be side effects or not. But the whole point of clinical trials is they should know if there's side effects before it's mass-produced and given to anybody anyway. Yeah, you mean that massive one under the train station, TXE Gaming, where they have to climb through that fucking tiny vent to get into it? But there's just DP5 Geigers everywhere and like GP5s everywhere, and all those like pickaxes and even that underground factory thing. The Soviets didn't mess around when it came to making civil shelters. You know, in the West, we just said everybody can die. But yeah, that's very interesting, especially because you're like, oh, it's all that Russian NBC gear I have just laying about. Crates and crates of GP5s, crates and crates of DP5 Geigers. Yeah. You know, the thing in the video, for the people that don't know, it's these, wasn't it? DP5s. I think it was the green DP5Vs, but they do the thing, don't they, in the video with it, of doing like this with their light, so then it glows green. It was a lot darker where they were, so the green glow was more obvious, but yeah. And this is a much older generation of DP5 because it's a DP5A, so they don't glow as well. It's a good point, Richard, but I really don't support the idea of having like chopped up elephants for you know, like furniture, because you know, they're an endangered animal. It's like ivory is a fucking horrible trade. Yeah, it's nowhere near as good Altrix though as the last generation of those they did. The one that had the really nice glow is the DP5B, V, and the Polish DP66s and 75s. I think that one does a similar sort of glow though. Let me get a good torch, like a really bright torch, and we'll try it. Actually, I can use a UV light, so let me do that. But right, that's just a regular one, and that should, yeah, see that green glow before it fades? Obviously, the brighter bit fades quite quickly. But if I do the UV light, there we go. I'll just flick the light off so you can see that a bit better. The other light's still quite bright over there, but yeah, they're really cool, the old DP sort of screens they put on the Geigers. Those are the ones that replace the radium. So if I just do that, that should charge it in a minute. So if I don't do that, yeah, see that. But they generally glow well enough that you can see them for a few hours in the dark. I'd love to know what sort of paint stuff the Russians used to put on that for it to glow in the dark. Oh, I need to do a video on this. But I got some strontium, whatever it's called recently, not strontium 90, but you know, the glow in the dark strontium, that's just the one that absorbs light. And it's really, really bright glow in the dark stuff. Yeah, if you want to see this one. I really need to flick the torch off, don't I, after charging it? So let's do that for a minute. Strontium aluminite. Thank you, Chris. That's exactly it. There you go. These do glow pretty well if it's dark. Yeah, this is the stuff the Russians replaced radium with on the Geiger counters. No, this is like modern glow-in-the-dark stuff. It's not very special at all. The radium stuff they used beforehand, yes, that has a very, very dark backstory, radium paint. But yeah, in regards to, you know, just stuff like that, it's not that scary at all. It's just literally something that retains light pretty well. Radioactive Maniac, from what I understand, yes, because lots of them were never closed off properly. What, do you hold the incense sticks over? Sorry, I'm a bit confused there. Justin Faber said, police haven't got the numbers to patrol and enforce the COVID rules. Should the army... I reckon they should be using the army, at least for tracing and, you know, all that sort of stuff. Because if they've got the soldiers available, they might as well use the manpower. All right, bots? But the issue is with a lot of stuff is they're literally not using them because they're like, oh, it makes the government look weak if we use the military. It's like, let's be honest, the government's completely fucking failed at all of this. So just use the military to bulk up numbers for testing, police, and whatever. And thanks again, Altrix. I do appreciate it. I have a 1920s Whisprod body armor vest coming in today. Was used against the gangsters. Oh, that's cool. Is that like one of the really old, heavy kind of early body armor vests? Because I have seen some really cool Prohibition era, like armor plating stuff they did. Wasn't that the reason apparently the gangsters used to use a lot of the armored, like just very heavy steel cars or something, because you couldn't shoot through them with small arms easily? And wasn't that why things like the bar were introduced to police services? Because obviously they were a lot more penetrating than just using a Thompson or something. It's literally a plate of steel. Sounds good. Have you seen those really old riot shields that are like a joke? They literally look like a blast door on wheels that were used to like push along a street if you're getting shot at or having Molotovs chucked on you. I reckon 7 out of 10 spooky, because they did have plans in place for a standard influenza pandemic. The issue is they didn't have one that was more infectious but less deadly. Right, Ty, thank you, I'm alright. Right, in face masks. Yep. Yeah, you remember it, Mike, then. I would like a K1 mask, YH, but at the moment, not really. But thank you for the donation. But just because at the moment, I've got too much stuff I need to do videos on and send back off to people and everything like that anyway. I do appreciate it, though. But yeah, at the moment, I've got to send off a load of stuff to Marcus. I've still got a couple of things to send back to Hype. So I've kind of got that thing at the moment where I just want to be getting some videos done on stuff and then sending them off. I don't really want more stuff coming in that I then have to get videos done on. Because as much as, you know, it's good that I've got stuff to do videos on, it's kind of annoying when you've got loads of stuff. You're like, right, I need to do this video soon because I need to, you know. Yeah, HEPA filters what Corona, especially if they're like a proper P3, P100 HEPA filter. It's an interesting thing, isn't it, Joe Mama? But there's like a lot of interesting things like the North Hollywood shootout, isn't there, and all those, which led to kind of more militarization of the police, but you can see why it was done from that regard. Because if you're a criminal, especially organized crime, you can get some pretty hefty firepower. Oh, don't forget to like the stream, everybody, if you're coming on. It says there's 90 plus people on, but 60 likes. That sounds good, bots. But yeah, I'm having that sort of thing where I still need to get the video done on that Taiwanese mask. What were some of the other videos I needed to do stuff on? I'm trying to remember, but I definitely have got stuff I need to do videos on. Oh, I thought, Marcus, I might as well send you that S10 first of all, actually, because I have no use for having, you know, videos on S10 when I've already got an S10. So yeah, I'll send you your S10 off first, actually. Rarest mask, depends how you mean. I've got 2 C7 respirators, which are the old British nuclear, like civil defence masks from the 50s until Britain realised everybody would die. So they recycled all of them, so it's quite hard to get them in original condition. A lot of them actually either got destroyed or went to the nuclear industry for just kind of very basic use for, you know, don't breathe in nuclear particles. Yeah, that's fine, Marcus. Like I said, I'll send you that stuff first, but it's, yeah, I need to find where all the Papa stuff is. For the Papa that came with the child's mask and all that, I know where all that is because I put it all back together in its box, but the other one I'm going to have to dig it out because I think the hose and the green unit are there. But did that one come with some other stuff as well? I'm trying to remember. I can always go back to the original video, but the plastic hood didn't come with that one, did it? It was the blower unit, the battery pack for the blower unit, hose that came with it. Was there anything else? Filters? Did filters come with it or not? I can't remember. If you mean by asbestos, if you mean asbestos, the Soviet PMG filter would have done, yes, because it was like the same internals and all their other filters. No, I didn't Simfrost, but it is aerosol transmission. We've known that for ages, that coughing and sneezing spreads this thing around and it floats around in the air. That's good painkiller. So they didn't clone you then or take your DNA or whatever. You know, some people seem to think they do if you get one of these tests. Was Bill Gates there with a 5G tower? You might want to clear that up for all the people that ask questions like that. Or say it as a statement rather than asking it as a question. Akira, if you don't have one, I'd say yes, just because it's going to get a hell of a lot harder to get them when the second wave properly hits. You know, just like toilet roll. Yeah, because you mean they're actually going to have learnt, Joe, that how bad biothreat is that most people knew, but they just didn't really want to think about. Yeah, it's funny though, Swaggerino, isn't it? Because it seems like a lot of people think it's the opposite way round, that if your government gives you protective items, they're doing it because you're sheep or whatever. No, what did they say, Dwarven Miner? Do you think the Bogdanovs are secretly behind Corona, though, Mike? That everybody's blaming like Bill Gates and Hillary and whatever else, but it's really the Bogdanovs using their Bogdabots. They're putting their nanobot Bogdabots in you. Yeah, we have English classes in England for some reason. I don't know why. Probably because we don't speak very good English. Dumpit. Don't worry, 2021 might be even worse. Gekauft. Dumpit. Yeah. Oh, I need to send a reply to one of my friends. He sent me a message earlier saying he got his test and he didn't have corona because he had like flu symptoms and his mum's a nurse, so they were quite worried. But yeah, I reckon it's going to be years. Like they're like, oh, it's going to be a V-shaped recovery. No, it's not. You're not going to have this many people losing their jobs and, you know, this much economic damage and this much debt being taken out, and then it's all going to go magically back to normal in like a couple of months. No, we're fucked. We're fucked. The economy is fucked. I'm not saying that to be like a doomer. I'm just saying that every time recently when I've been saying I think this is going to get worse, and people are like, no, you're just being like, you know, pessimist. It has gotten worse. What do you think will happen in 2021 then, Tyre? Do you think all the RAF museums will be bulldozed because they can use them for, I don't know, flammable cladding tower blocks? Are those like modern filters OK9 that are meant to be replacing like P3 filters? I've never actually seen one in person. Yeah, I reckon it could be as bad as the 30s depression. I mean, the good thing is with online, there's a lot of stuff now where businesses online can still keep going at least. Cheers, Daniel. But well, I think we are already kind of in a new Cold War with China. If you look what's going on with between the West and China now, I think it's going to turn into in the next few years like the new Cold War, where China will be like the Soviet Union, and you know, America will be America. Britain will be the country in the middle that's going to get nuked regardless. You know. Yeah, Tyler, I know what you're saying about Burningford, but I'm just saying, how could it get worse? You know, that because I did sign that petition and put a donation in towards it. But I'm just sort of saying, you know, you're saying how could it get any worse? I was saying, don't worry, I'm sure it could. The thing is, it's not like shutting the pub at 10 is going to stop transmission, is it? It might cut it down a bit, but like people were saying on the radio today, they're saying it's not like the virus only waits till 10 p.m. and then starts spreading. It's like if the pubs are open, it can spread in there. Other than eBay, I really don't know, Oscaris. Maybe Varustrelk or whatever they're called, the Finnish surplus store, might sometimes get them in. What country are you in, Oscaris? Because I think sometimes a few UK surplus stores have had them separate to eBay, but they've been pretty similar prices. Yeah, Iran's already enriched like 10 times its uranium limit, hasn't it, with 235? You know, Iran, if we give you a nuclear power plant, you are not allowed to make much uranium-235. Okay, we understand. Then, like, Iran, what are you doing? You have already enriched enough uranium to make atomic bombs. You know, who could have seen that coming? Oh, yeah, that's what somebody was saying, Daniel. They said, I'll just drink quicker, I'll go to the pub earlier in the day. You know, it's not going to change much, is it? Gluten Tag. Now, is that like the non-gluten-free equivalent of Guten Tag? All right, Sparrow? Yeah, like you're right, maybe, Tyre. Maybe God has said, fuck you and your planet. Enjoy death. Even if they don't have nukes hidden, I'm sure they'll have piles enriched in uranium, you know, and that's a nice thing to be laying around, isn't it? A load of U-235. I'm sure there is a boy named Gilroy. I mean, I don't know what version of eBay you have to go on to find them, but yeah, I imagine they're older ones, but still, if somebody ground bursts something like that, it's going to make a lot of fallout, isn't it? Actually, kind of low yield bombs are a bit scarier when it comes to stuff like that, because low yield bombs, the neutrons go further than the explosion, don't they? With higher yield bombs, essentially the fireball goes further than the neutrons, so you're not really going to get irradiated, because if you're at that distance, you're just going to get incinerated. Whereas the scary thing of low yield bombs is the neutrons actually travel further than the explosion, so stuff that appears fine initially is actually horribly irradiated. That's why neutron bombs are specifically designed to have a very low explosive yield, but to send the neutrons as far as possible. I don't actually have any animal and plant venom to test, Gash Goblin, but it's an interesting thing, isn't it? I know there's like frogs that are poisonous and that, as well as obviously different snakes and things, but all right, for that person, I'm just going to see if I can find him that particular mask, but this will be from like a UK surplus site if they've got any in. Oh, this one's out of stock, but see, they did have them here, and they actually put them down for 60 quid. That was pretty good. But they're out of stock here now, but they have had them in before here. Bodyarmor.com's got them in, but they want 150 quid for them on there rather than just so I'd say yes at the moment. They're all overpriced, would be my answer to you there. Yep. A Triffid that spits poison and kills like science fiction. Don't get that stuck in my head. But yeah, weirdly, I was thinking about Day of the Triffids quite a bit recently. if everybody's not seen the original BBC series of it, not the shitty CGI new one, but the original BBC series on Day of the Triffids is really good. It was either like 4 or 6 episodes, wasn't it? And it was kind of a bit more like Fred's, where it was about what would happen after the event itself, not just the event itself. Oh, and they don't get killed by salt water in the BBC series, you know, like the book. Unlike the old 1950s or 60s film when there is it, where they're like, oh, seawater, that will save the Earth, thanks God, right at the end. I don't think there's any radioactive animals in real life. I mean, that'd be a scary thought, wouldn't it, if Australia develops like its first poisonous radioactive animal, like an ant that spits radiation, but thankfully I don't think that's the case. Yeah, does it make you ever want to walk around Endless Names with a cattle prod? It does for me. You know, I know that's pretty horrible, but if ever I have to do essential shopping for somebody and you see like chavs walking around without masks on, I do kind of you know, you do sort of want a cattle prod, don't you? There's actually a fungus in Chernobyl now that eats radiation, which is really fascinating. Well, there's lots of scary jellyfish things, aren't there? Like, look up the Man of War. I know the Man of War technically isn't a jellyfish, but still, look at that and then go, nope, 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 nope. Yeah, here's an idea, Daniel. The supermarket system is flooded with tear gas. If you don't have your mask on, you start coughing and spluttering. Oh, I think I found the cure for no maskers. We just administer tear gas everywhere. Not that that's actually a sensible, good idea. Well, decay faster as in like biological matter decay faster, or as in radioactive decay? As far as I'm aware of radioactive decay, it can't be sped up or slowed down. Maybe it could due to like neutrons and fission, but I don't think if you've got a check source, you can make it like the half-life speed up or slow down. That sounds good, Gash Goblin. Let me know how that goes. That's interesting. I suppose in some way it is natural selection, isn't it, Pedro? It's just kind of annoying we have to put up with them. No, I've got the DVD of it and never got round to watching it because I think it was one I picked up in a charity shop for like 10p a DVD when I bought like 300 DVDs. Well, not 300, but you know, like a massive pile of DVDs hit a charity shop. Thank you, Nikolai. What would the gas be that would make you buy more products? Like alcohol vapor because it lowers your inhibitions? I don't know. All right, cheers, Henry. Have a good evening. Yeah, I'd say that's a good idea, Tactical Pirate. Yeah, they are licking toilet seats, but unfortunately they're not sticking to themselves. Yeah, I wanted to visit Chernobyl, as I've said over and over again. The problem was Corona happened and I couldn't go. Yeah, more like yeah, some diffused smell, isn't it? But I suppose it'd be the opposite of a cow shit smell, wouldn't it? Because if you did that, people probably wouldn't want to shop in your shop. Yeah, pheromones. That's a technical word. Pheromones. I honestly do not believe the Russians think Corona is cured by vodka. That sounds like something somebody would say to take the piss out of the Russians. You know, Russians this plus vodka. I don't think they can tell you not to, though, Tyre, can they? Because you're bringing a working respirator to school. Well. Any idea what the actual scent was, Lewis? Sounds like a Vault-Tec experiment now, doesn't it? Although a lot of the Vault-Tec stuff scarily was based on real stuff America did in the 50s and 60s. I've not heard of anything to do with Russians and badges to prevent COVID. No thanks, Peach. Got some coffee in this mug. I didn't drink it fast enough, so it started going cold now. Oh yeah, don't forget, you can buy an S10 mug like this in the merch store below. Doo-hoo-hoo, shill, shill, shill. But you will just die of alcohol poisoning, Daniel, so there's always that. Yeah, it'd be interesting, Lewis, wouldn't it, to be, what would it be? Oh, I know lots of theme parks and things like that, Sparrow, do have, like, things used for, like, rides to, you know, make it more atmospheric. But yeah, I don't actually know if there is a genuine, this is a happy smell chemical kind of thing. Although saying that, like, scented candles and things like that generally raise your mood, so... I'll ask Bart at some point to draw an S6 design for putting on mugs and t-shirts and hoodies, but Bart can be very slow sometimes when you ask him to do it. Like, you're like, oh yeah, I'll get round to it this week, and then it's like several months later and he's not done it. Yeah. Well, slot machines themselves are pretty addictive, aren't they, Irish? But yeah. I know Las Vegas casinos supposedly keep the lighting and the aircon and everything up, like, the perfect stuff, as well as, like, the carpet patterns, don't they, to keep you, like, in there for as long as possible. I guess people who are losers, Soviet gas mask collector, who are like, oh, I want to get free money from the government to sit around and not go to work, because they don't understand that long term that is going to completely ruin everything economically. The Clorox Endless Nameless, really good stuff. You inject it, makes the corona go away. Why don't you try putting it in your airways with the very powerful light? I think the doctors should look into that. I don't think we would evolve to I don't think we can evolve immunity to radiation from being exposed to radiation. I hope it goes all right, Mackenzie, and that you get a negative. That sounds interesting, Knife and Gets Out, thank you. Yeah, well, it's because it's like a big nature reserve, isn't it, James? It's just literally because there's not people there screwing up their lives. You know, whereas in all the rest of the places, we build over stuff, chop down forests, you know. I don't think it's the radiation doing that. I think it's just the fact there aren't people there. You know, other than the occasional people that go for scientific reasons or, like, tourism reasons. Sorry to hear that, Nikolai. But I imagine, all right, Vladimir, but I imagine you'll get people sadly telling you that that's fake news and it didn't happen. You might be able to do that, Mike. Yeah, here's the thing. If you increase O2 levels, wouldn't the people naturally get slightly high and have, like, dopamine stuff released, Daniel? Because I know there's lots of stuff that if you release dopamine, essentially it triggers addictive behavior if done long enough, doesn't it? The same reason that gambling, even though you're not taking a substance physically, gets addicting, because you get a dopamine rush when you gamble. So the people who do it long enough basically get addicted to it. Now that's interesting, Knife and Guts. I have seen that, Lewis, but a while ago. But yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? All the really, really big catfish in those rivers. Yeah. For Christmas, I got you some loo roll and some rubbing alcohol. Oh, thanks, Mum. You're the best. Now I don't have to die of corona. Yeah, it sounds like she's very irresponsible then, a lone traveller. Yeah, you won, even though you lost money. Interesting, though, Joe Mama, you can technically, well, I'm not going to say you can make money, but you can if you use online gambling places when you get the really good promotions. I kind of jump between sites when they offer a really good promotion with free spins that you can cash out instantly. Because, you know, I found that's quite good. It's like, oh, you bet £10 and then you get £30 worth of free spins, and then you play on a game that has like 96 to 97% return to player, and then as soon as you've used up all your spins, you just cash your money out. You must hate me for doing that. It's quite funny. Like, oh, thank you, I've put £10 in and I've left with 50 quid. Bye. I'm not gambling anymore because it's a loser's game. Cheers, Chris. But yeah, because all those signs are cool to have in the background. I assume it probably still is. I mean, on the planet, yeah. I mean, the sun would be more radioactive. But... yeah, I mean, that would make sense, wouldn't it, Daniel? Because it basically lowers your risk of cancers and things like that. But what I'm saying is I don't think exposing people to radiation over time is going to give them more resilience to radiation. I think it's more likely just to give them cancer. Yeah, see, Joe Mama, that's how you're meant to do it. Well, but that's not how the casinos want you to do it. But yeah, that's how you're meant to do it. The point is, what you're not meant to do is say, wow, I've won this much and I'm going to win more, you know, or I've lost money, so let me stake even more money to chase my losses. That's when it goes very badly wrong. What was twice removed or once removed, Vladimir? If it was a question. I've asked about family relations. Oh, right, to Nikolai the Russian. I wouldn't trust Baron Munchausen because all his thing, the story about Baron Munchausen is that he's a bullshit. Can't show you guns on the stream if you're not listening to any YouTube's rules. Yeah, good point, Lewis. Especially when it was all the mafia running it. Have you watched some of those really interesting videos about the people with like the ways like rigging the slot machines to always get a payout? They're quite interesting. Like the one about the CRT repairman. Any Ghost filter will fit the GP5, Matthew. What do you mean by the current police masks? Which country? But in general, most Western countries or whatever, or even most Eastern countries, the police are generally issued with pretty good respirators if you can get one in good condition. Sounds like a lot of energy then, doesn't it? No, I don't want our gas mask. Well, I have no way of knowing if it's true or not, but I do know the sun gives out a hell of a lot of light, heat, and radiation. So, you know, I could certainly imagine you wouldn't want to go up to the sun, you know, assuming you wouldn't instantly be incinerated anyway. But, you know, I'm sure you'd probably die horribly of radiation poisoning. Have I been to Berlin? I'm actually having to try and think now. I've been to a few places in Germany. I don't think I've been to Berlin, though, because I'm sure I'd have done, like, the Berlin War Museum and everything if I went to Berlin. So, no, I don't think I have been to Berlin. I've been to bits of, like, what's the south bit of Germany called near Austria? Bavaria? I've been to a lot of Bavaria. What about Trafalgar Square? I've not... is this on the BBC News? Let me search police Trafalgar Square. Was this where they had the anti-vaxxers there the other day starting a riot or whatever they were doing? Let's go on images. I'd assume it would have probably been FM12s, but if you know a news site that's got the article on it, I'll have a look, or a video. Right, I found a video of the globalists cause coronavirus. Coronavirus is a weapon of mass thing. Vaccines cause autism given by Bill Gates, apparently. I have no fucking clue what some of these signs mean. Is there any video of the police hitting these fucking retards? Let's have a look. I mean, there's lots where the police are just wearing surgical masks. I can see ones where the cops have riot helmets. I haven't seen any cops in gas masks yet. Now, in this video I'm looking at, there's none with gas masks on. They just had surgical masks on, like riot gear. I wouldn't really think so, TXC Gaming, other than like the UV radiation, no, because cosmic rays come from everywhere, and like the thickness of the Earth isn't going to do much to high energy cosmic rays. Oh, were you just on about their surgical masks? But yeah, the UK police used to use FM12s and CT12s a lot, but I don't know if they still do or if they're going to a new mask yet. Yeah, Andromeda Strain's brilliant, isn't it? Michael Crichton did a lot of good stuff, but yeah. Yeah, older films are generally better. Just I don't have a particular reason for them sounding like a hipster, but I just generally think because a lot of the practical effects they put in, and it wasn't a time of like, oh, this film's too long for audiences to appreciate it. I did watch a really shit old film though the other day. Has anybody heard of Manos: The Hands of Fate? I knew Shitcase Cinema had talked about it before, but I never got around to watching it until recently. And Jesus Christ, what a shit old film! Has anyone seen Manos: The Hands of Fate? Because if you've not, I'd recommend it for just how bad it is and the awful, awful dubbing. It's like one of those films where people are dubbed, yet they repeat the same thing like 3 times in case you didn't hear it. Like the guy going like, "The master won't approve. I don't think the master will like this." Right, Mike, I will find you Shitcase Cinema's video of it in a minute and link you to it on Twitter, because I think you'll find it fucking hilarious. I wouldn't necessarily say get bored by watching the 80-minute film, but I think the Shitcase Cinema review sums it up pretty well, where he keeps calling like, look at this fucking gimp, look at this fucking retard when he's doing his review. That's cool, Vladimir. Do I think Corona is real? Yes. Do I think governments have dealt with it well? No. There you go. I think the FRR is meant to be a lot better than the regular GSR, isn't it? But saying that, the GSR is now made by Avon, not Scott, so the Avon ones are probably pretty good. But it's still going to be bulky compared to an M50. COVID will go through what filters? Thank you, Red article, even though it's got nothing to do with the stream, but thank you. Don't completely hide him, Marcus. No, don't hide either. Most of the time they're all right. I'll unhide them, but yeah. But yeah, don't say conspiracy bullshit on here. For all the people saying like, oh, is Corona fake? Because that's a good way just to get automatically banned by a mod. Like, here's the thing: you can be skeptical of Corona, but don't be as dumb as going, oh, it's all made up by the NWO and Bill Gates or whatever. What is my favourite gas mask, Nikolai? I think is my most asked question. Is Bill Gates a hologram? Oh well. But yeah, I've not seen Megalodon, whatever it's called, but I've not really got much interest in seeing like disaster style movies. I've not heard of one today, Andy. I know there was one on Saturday, wasn't there, where the anti-vaxxers and everything got in a fight with the police because they wanted to just turn up in like mass numbers without masks and then refuse to leave. I don't know if it will last forever, but I am buying a bunker. So, when I have my bunker and I try and make it as much as off-grid as possible, I am quite looking forward to that, as in becoming more of a hermit. I don't know how you'd remove them safely, because if they're stuck in their old celluloid lenses or old brittle glass lenses, I wouldn't really want to try and... Financially, Dwarven Mine are about halfway there, but as I've said before, I want to have enough that I can buy one and do all the restoration stuff to it without having to, like, borrow any money or anything. So I'd say it'll probably be at least a year till I can actually get one and do all that. Well, that's right, Mike. See you on there tomorrow, then. I'll link you when this stream ends to that review of Manos: The Hands of Fate. Yeah, Yeah, I've never played Escape from Tarkov, but I know of it. Go on sites, Spooky, where people sell unusual properties, and you can buy all the old government bunkers that have been decommissioned and now in private hands. I'm not banning anybody. There's different ways you can do it, TXE Gaming. The most common way is you get one of those really strong mobile internet antenna things. Obviously, you pay for the mobile internet service you want to use, and then you run the cable down into the bunker through like one of the air vents or whatever. Yeah, I will do, Mark, because as I said, I want to actually get as much of it working off grid as possible. So I would want water storage and filtration as well as like solar panels and everything. I'd also probably want a bit of land with it for doing like an allotment type thing on the surface, because I don't see why you wouldn't do that if you've got a bit of square space of land. You might as well grow as much of your own stuff as possible. I don't think I would survive in the end of the world, because my ulcerative colitis medicine would run out and then I'd die. Right, see you, Soviet gas mask, if you're off. Well, the only thing is TXE Gaming, ROC post bunkers are very small. They're not like the nice big government or civil defence shelter style bunkers. These are literally, you've got a room where you can fit a bed and some furniture in it, you know, and you've got a toilet and you've got your ladder room. That's the bunker. But it's still cheaper than buying a house by a long shot. So it'd be pretty good for just having a cheap maintainable living space. That's the main point of why I want one, because of the history behind them and, you know, the cheapness of actually having it for living. Oh yeah, it's still a bunker. Oh yeah, the Stasi Museum was actually mentioned on the radio the other day, because people were talking about corona restrictions and the Stasi, you know, and then the bloke who was on the radio, who used to live in East Germany, was basically bringing up the Stasi Museum and trying to explain to people that the Stasi are a lot more, were a much better secret police, if you want to use that sort of term, much better than people going like, oh, if you inform on your neighbours about corona, you're the Stasi. He's like, you do realise that the Stasi would literally have notes at like what time you left the house, what food you ordered at a restaurant, you know, like how long you would sit in a restaurant, like what bus registration you would get on and all that. Like the Stasi were very, very good at being, you know, knowing everything about you. Didn't a lot of the police after the fall of East Germany employ lots of Stasi agents for being in like investigators for the police, because of just how good they were at doing it. Cheers, Titan. Yeah, it would take quite a while, use-free, to do that. But yeah, it's more just, obviously I'm paying rent where I am at the moment, and I just kind of want my own place, even if it's tiny. You know, and what better than having a bunker in the middle of nowhere, where you can say, oh, it doesn't matter if I don't like my neighbours, because there are no neighbours, you know. Oh, there's no loud noises or whatever outside, because I'm sitting in a concrete. You're not banned. I won't see your comment if you're banned. I unbanned you because one of the mods banned you for saying something about corona, and I unbanned you. It depends on the land rights, OK9 and planning permission, but you could certainly build non-permanent structures. The SR1 is all right for what it is. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it compared to modern masks, but you know. It's just coming back in much bigger numbers, gas mask boy, because that's why everybody did the lockdowns in the first place, was to decrease the rate of infection. The problem is the rate of infection has gone up massively because everybody's not following any of the distancing rules, and the government have allowed a lot more to open quickly. Because rubber straps are easy to decontaminate. Lots of masks have rubber straps. Fabric is generally more comfortable, but fabric is harder to, you know. Yeah, I always wear a respirator if I'm either going to the supermarket or, you know, going out anywhere. Sometimes a half-face respirator, not a full-face respirator, but I never go out like a little, you know, flimsy mask on, like I've shown a few times on the channel. I always wear proper masks when I'm out and about, because, fuck, you know what, because other people aren't going to follow the rules a lot of the time. I want something to actually protect me. It depends on the size of it. tiny bunkers are cheap, big bunkers are expensive, you know, but the maintenance cost of big bunkers is going to be way higher as well, isn't it? Now, that's interesting, Citizen Smith. What, because they thought he might be able to, like, make radios for people to listen to, like, Western stuff or stuff like that? It's interesting, isn't it? Right, I'll be off any minute now. But a massive thank you to everybody that donated. Altrix donated quite a lot today, so a massive thank you to him. But yeah, I will probably be on tomorrow, but I'm not sure the exact time. Probably the evening, but there might be a chance tomorrow I do the afternoon if I've got like a bit of spare time in the afternoon. Sadly though, Randy, I'm not going to try and take my old falling apart GM38 apart to try and do it, because I imagine it might just fall apart more. I agree, it would be a good idea for a video, but personally it's not something I want to try myself. Yeah, it's that bit in Time Splitters 3, Mike, of when they're looking down the ladder and there's like the zombie noises coming up. And the girl in the miniskirt says to Cortez, you go first. And he looks at her skirt and goes, okay. But yeah, that's assuming the lighting's all right. I suppose you could install some lighting going down the side of the ladder shaft, couldn't you? Anyway, I'll be off now. Have a good evening, everybody. Stay safe as well. And we'll be following what's going on with Corona pretty closely, I think, over the next week or two, because I think it's going to get a lot worse in the UK again. And don't forget, get your toilet paper and masks before everybody else buys all of them up again, because otherwise you might have the coughs and diarrhea, and then you're a bit fucked. So yeah, make sure you plan for the toilet paper.